Hey everybody, this is Scott, and this should be a regular episode of the Green Pants Podcast, but this is it's going to be a little bit different, and I have absolutely no notes, nothing I wrote down, no little tidbits and bullet points and things like that, which I tend to like to just key off of words and at least do that. And this time around, I didn't do any of that. Nothing. This is totally, it's just from the heart. And this is as much for me as it is for anything. Just say that right up front. And it's not about anyone else at all. But it's, and for, I work in the veterinary field every day. It's my job. And I was talking with a doctor one time. We got to talking about someone like, people don't like cats, people don't like dogs, or don't like both. And I said, yeah, I just can't imagine someone not liking dogs. And he's like, yeah, there's a name for that. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, they're weird. They're a weirdo. And I'm not going to say I agree or not, but if you don't like cats or dogs, I actually had a cat that I really loved, Boomer. He was so cool. But he acted more like a dog than he did a cat. But this episode, this video is about this right here. This neon lime green tennis ball. As many of you may know, my family, Teresa and I and Austin, are quite fond of King Charles Cavalier Spaniels. We got two of them almost 4 years ago, Gracie and Coco. One's a ruby. That's Coco. Or excuse me. That's Gracie. Sweet Princess Gracie. That's her name, the ruby colored one. And that's her right here. That's Gracie. It was Gracie. That's my girl. And Coco's on the floor right beside me right now. She's become my work buddy during the day. And she never was, though. She never was my work buddy, Coco, because, you see, Gracie and Coco are sisters. They're from the same litter, and they were inseparable. And getting back to if you don't like dogs or you do like dogs, whatever, other than faith, God, in my family, these now 3 Cavaliers, because Austin saved money and got a tricolor Cavalier named Harley. And he's got a really unique name for Harley now. His nickname is called, her name, I should say, Red Diamond. That's Harley's nickname, Red Diamond. I don't know where that comes from, but always having to tell him to go play with Red Diamond and take Red Diamond outside. But, so yeah, this is actually my favorite picture. And it's kind of neat because their tails, you can't really see it there, but their tails form a heart. And I'll show you a couple more because they're just so stinking cute. Here's the before picture. And then here's 30 seconds later. And you have to realize that King Charles Cavalier Spaniels are the least aggressive dog you will ever meet. The only thing they know how to do is love you. And this is all, of course, it's not hyperbole. It's just simply my opinion. But it's fact. And I think they're one of the only dogs, maybe the only, but fully grown, they still look like a puppy. And maybe that has something to do with it. But they only know how to do one thing. They only know how to give you 1,000% love unconditionally 24/7. They are the incomparable Velcro dog. But we had our girls, I guess they were about 8 months old. So they were born June 30th, 2022. So they're not even 4 years old. And when they were 8 months old, they were somewhere and they were poisoned. We don't know what they were poisoned with. We just don't know. We never could find out. But they ended up in the ICU of actually one of the hospitals, a specialty hospital that I work with them quite a bit actually, but they were in ICU for 3 weeks. And this is not a PSA, but it is. If you have a puppy, any new puppy, any less than a year old, or even a year old, get pet insurance. I don't care what you get. I recommend Pets Best or Pumpkin, but just get something, get pet insurance, because Gracie and Coco ended up there with kidney failure after being poisoned. And let's just say the bill was about $40,000. Thank God my insurance paid for 90% of that. I don't know what we would have done otherwise. I thank God we didn't have to make that decision, because if it would have been a situation where we had to pay that out of pocket, or if we had to actually pay it to then get reimbursed, we couldn't come up with, 90% of that number. But we didn't have to, which was just such a blessing to have that. And in fact, when we got Harley 2 months ago, or 6 weeks ago, whatever it is, I added her to the policy within minutes of getting her and leaving the breeder. But, so here we have 2 young dogs, not even a year old, with kidney failure, renal failure. Their kidneys have been badly damaged. And we were told that their lives obviously would be very shortened. We didn't know what that meant at the time. And for about, I don't even know how many months it was, but we had them for the first 2 months on 3 times a day subcutaneous fluids. 3 times a day. That's needles in their necks, both of them, 3 times a day. Every day for 3 months. And then, I don't know, after however many months, but we ended up being able to cut that back and wean off of that. And Coco's numbers were better, still in the high category, not in the good category, but Gracie's were much worse. And if you ever saw Gracie, she was very thin. She was 16, 17 pounds. Coco's like 28 pounds. They're sisters, right? So I truly believe that Gracie got hurt a lot worse. And she became... Gracie was my buddy. She did everything with me. And I miss her so much. But things, we had to make food. Like, we made their food for them for months and months. And it was so difficult, because we would freeze it. We would get everything together in all these bags. And then we'd have like 50 bags of food into one serving portions into a single bag. And we'd freeze it, and then we'd take, 4 of them out like at a time and kind of let them thaw as we went through one onto the other, etc. It just became so much work that it was so difficult to do. And then we tried going to renal formula dog food, and it's just like human food. Any of the stuff that's really good for you, or it's important that you have it, it probably doesn't taste very good. And they hated it. We tried so many different ones, and we tried the stews, and we tried the loaf type of food, the fresh food, and we just had to get really creative. And then Gracie needed more incentive to eat than Coco. Coco does not have as much of a problem at all. So she was on a drug that would actually stimulate her appetite. And then about, I guess, and Teresa's going to tell me that I'm wrong on this, but just over the last few months, her appetite was just getting so much more challenging. And then, I guess, again, several months ago, her blood work came back, and it was not good. At least in the past, we've had it relatively controlled, but things were just drifting south, where they shouldn't be, into where every level was high, or creatine, or bun, all these different levels were not where they were supposed to be, until it was so difficult to get her to eat. I'm getting in the weeds here, and I apologize for that. But I didn't let a lot of people pick her up though in the recent past, just because it was difficult to, because her rib cage, she was so thin that she'd squeal. And what really happened is that every few months, every couple of months or so, she'd get pancreatitis. It's just something that's associated with kidney failure. And it's very painful. And you can tell, they throw up. For Gracie, her abdomen and her ribs and everything would just be really sore. And then at the end, though, the last couple months, pretty sure that pancreatitis was just something she was living with every day. And the last thing I want to do, because, I'm in this industry and I hear about it and I see it too from doctors, and what they tell me as well is that so many pet owners, they keep hanging on too long. They hang on too long. They hang on longer than the animal should hang on. And I get it. I totally get it, because it was very much at the forefront of my thoughts, and Teresa's as well, because we just didn't want to have Gracie suffer, all because so that we could keep her longer. And I felt like we needed to get something done. And I'm going to share this with you, because it's not to make you, uncomfortable or anything like that, but everything just escalated over the last several weeks. And she developed this, there's a name for it. I don't know if it's Greek or Latin or whatever, but it's called uremic ketor. And it's obvious that, once you hit that, you're not coming back from it, but the toxins had just become so, is that me? Who's that? I think Austin's knocking on the door. Doggone it. But the toxins had just become so big or so high. The level was so high. I totally lost my train of thought. But the way some of it escapes is through the body, through the lungs, and out through their mouth. And I've never had, I guess, dog breath like that. Everybody's kind of, dog breath, you can take your own dog's bad dog breath. But no, this was so bad that you could actually smell it. The entire downstairs, you could smell it. It was so bad. And we just got to where this is horrible. So we made the appointment. I made the appointment. I made the call to go in on Tuesday, because that's not on Monday of last week, or this week, because we knew our doctor wasn't going to be in. So we made it for Tuesday. And over the last week, one thing I noticed too, because one day, there was blood on the blanket on the corner of the couch where they always sit up high. And I'm sorry for this, but we had to see this. And up till now, I didn't think, I thought we were, they said weeks or months, but I knew that it was days, maybe weeks if we were even lucky. But her gums just started coming away from her teeth. And overnight, her teeth and her mouth, just her gums and everything like that, were no longer pink and bright. And we went in to see our doctor, and you have to understand that Gracie, she's a tough little animal, because she would still have the zoomies, but she was either asleep or active. And so we're like, she's doing this, and she just, what happens, I really believe that at the end we were kind of keeping her alive with the fluids, because if we took them away, I knew what would happen. But so we looked at our doctor and just said, so you're telling us we could probably take Gracie home for a few more days, maybe 3 or 4 or 5. And she's like, yeah, you could. But we didn't. We didn't. Because I didn't want to take Gracie home, and 3 or 4 or 5 days later, she'd be falling down. I didn't want to do that. So we chose to say goodbye to Gracie Tuesday afternoon. And again, if you're not a dog person, you might not get this, but of all the things that, a Cavalier or a dog can have, and you have 2 of them that get poisoned. And we lost Gracie on Tuesday. And it just, I'm sick to my stomach about it. And sad thing is that the first day it wasn't, Coco didn't really see much. And then on Thursday outside, you could see her walking around. She's seriously depressed. And I said that Coco would never come up and be my work buddy, but now she's with me, this whole week she's been in my office mostly all the day with me. And I love it. I love it. But I feel so bad for her because, her buddy, her best friend, her sister is gone. And what really blows, though, is that Coco is in the middle of renal failure as well. And we think right now that she's going through more episodes of pancreatitis. And we chose about 2 months ago, to let Austin pull the trigger and get Harley. I'm so happy that we did. Because now Coco has her, and they're starting to play together. Should you get this upset about your dog? Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, they are God's creatures, and the joy that they give a person is just incalculable. And it just I don't know what more to say, but get insurance for your animals. Always take care of your own animals. It's kind of like when you deal with special needs. No one can take care of your kid, your son, your daughter better than you can. And that's all I have to say about taking care of your own animal. Period. It's really hard, but I'm gonna reach down here and get Coco, and I'll get Coco, and I'll tell you what's going on though, because I've been keeping myself busy. I just finished book 2 of a 5-part series that I'm working on. It's a spiritual thriller, and I don't know. After this, I don't even, whatever. It's a lot of exciting stuff happening, but I guess I didn't even need to go there. I just wanted to get all this off my chest because everybody wants to know. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now. But, if you're into your animals, I don't care if it's an iguana or a bearded dragon like Marty that Austin had, they're great. In terms of mental health, our animals are just wonderful for us. And I think that's part of the allure, part of the awe, part of the wonder of these things we call pets is that they give you so much love and joy. At the same time, it's so profound, it's so unconditional, it's so meaning and lasting that when they leave us, it hurts almost, I guess, as much as any loved one would. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. And let me grab Coco because I want to get her up here. Yeah. Come here, girl. Come here. Oh, I'm going to put my headphones back on, but this is Coco. What? What do you think? You want to say something? Mm-hmm. Oh, you here? What? Anything? Want to say something? This is Coco, or Coco Chanel. This is Teresa's girl, and this is Gracie's sister. Gracie was older, I guess, by about 30 seconds, something like that. And what? Okay, I'm gonna let her down. But they're just love buckets, right? Okay, I love you. But Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. All right. Take care. God bless. Stay the course. Keep the faith. Finish the race. Much love.